Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhu bhaivacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Vanchakalpa namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Tinamani Namaste Saraswati Devam Gauravani Pacharani Nevasi Sunyavari Paskicha Deshata Raja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadar Harshiva Sri Shikota Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Thank you so much, Tatiana, for recording this session. And I'm appreciative of whatever devotees are coming to the class. I'm glad we can record it. So I sent in the WhatsApp 2 links. One is for a specific book called Easy Journey to Other Planets. And the other is for a website. The Easy Journey to Other Planets is a PDF. And then the other one is for your reference. It's called Vedabase.com. So the Vedabase.com is going to be a very important link for you to use. I personally use it all the time. This is really almost most of Prabhupada's books here. So you can read any one of them online. So whether you are here, there, or anywhere, it doesn't make a difference. You don't have to bring the hardbacks with you. I used to have a whole library of books, heavy, a lot of books, Prabhupada's books, so many. Now you can just reference here and you can go through and study. It's easy to study. Online studying is very good. Hari Bol, Natalia, Hari Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, my humble obeisances to everybody.
More obeisances to you.
Thank you very much for such an opportunity.
Yeah, so we're just discussing this Vedabase.com website. It was a great, if you go through here, there's so many important books that you can just take your time and go through. Oh, I'm just so happy that when I began my Bhakti Yoga, many of these books weren't even printed yet. So I was very fortunate to be part of when they first came out, whether I wasn't doing the editing or proofreading or painting, but I was doing the distribution of these books. And as an example, it's so beautiful. I was at the airport, different airports, distributing these books. So sometimes all of a sudden a new Bhagavatam would come out, a new canto. I mean, fresh, hot off the press, brand new. And they'd bring them to the airport in boxes, and we'd open them up. And I mean, you might as well just faint. It was so amazing to see these books come out fresh. It's like, oh my God, what is it? And we all crowded around the boxes, and we picked them up, and we looked at these gorgeous books, and we opened them up, and we saw the paintings, and oh my God, it was, I don't know how to describe it other than out of this world. And then we were so enthusiastic, we were distributing these books. So sometimes we would distribute 1 volume or 2 or 3, or we'd say to someone, well, if you got the first one, get the other 2, that you have all of the first canto, part 1, part 2, part 3, and then we would distribute 1, 2, 3, maybe 4, sometimes 5, 10 books to one person. So the same thing with Chaitanya Charitamrita. Krishna book came out very early. That one came out very early. That was one of Prabhupada's first books. George Harrison helped print that book. And that was quite amazing. That's the summary of the 10th canto, the Krishna book. Those are the Leelas of Lord Krishna. But I got to tell you something. The 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam contains the most intimate pastimes of the Lord. Yeah. Yes, that's in Russian? Yeah. So usually you don't get to the 10th canto before you first go from the first 9. But Prabhupada, he came out right away with the 10th canto. And he summarized it so beautifully. so you don't misinterpret it. So someone who's not, Prabhupada wanted us to go through the 9 cantos. It's like a yogi going from meditating on the feet of the Lord to his thighs, navel, chest, up to the top. That's the idea behind the first 9 cantos. Prabhupada said you're raising your consciousness until you qualify to read the 10th canto, because the 10th canto contains more of the intimate pastimes of the Lord, not just intimate between Radha and Krishna, but also between all the different residents of Vrindavan. And so he wanted this book out right away. He didn't want to wait, because he knew that by reading this Krishna book, they're like stories, and these stories would be very attractive. People would read these stories and they would gain interest and attachment to Krishna. So he was so happy when this 3 volumes came out. So we used to read Krishna book every evening. At the end of the day, we would have our full day of bhakti yoga, all day. No fooling around here, Prabhus. This is all day, either chanting all day, serving the deity. But in the evening, we'd be tired. So Prabhupada wanted us to drink hot milk and read Krishna book. So that was our evening program. Hey, after all, we were yogis. We still are. Yogis are here for a higher purpose. So it's really interesting. Now, this is the vedabase.com website. So the books here are fantastic. So I definitely want you to have this. We're going to start off a little bit today with a book that is not well read or well known. Easy Journey to Other Planets. So I gave you the link. Could you open that link up, please? If you can, if you're able to, Natalia, if you can't, we'll read it.
That was my first book I read. My first book.
You're a
I
real
was
yogi,
so
Natalia.
excited that
You are,
other planets
you are a yogi. That's great.
just
So do you have it both open? I mean, I don't know if you can open it, Natalia, but Alexandra and Tatiana,
no,
have the books open that
don't.
it's Easy Journey to Other Planets. I gave the link there. It's a PDF.
We can do screen sharing again like last time, and that way it can be on the screen.
Okay.
Let me see if I can try. Host disabled participant screen sharing. So Tatiana, you'd have to enable your screen sharing for us to see it on the screen. It's the little green button in the middle on the bottom. Tap.
Yeah, the problem
bar.
yeah, I can do it. Yeah, sure. Hold on. Let me just give me 1 second to open it. So, the journey.
Yeah.
I just don't see it. I'll show you what I see. Oh, you know what? I just let you share it. If you have it, if you open it, maybe you just share it with us, Alexandra,
Yes, I do have it open.
because it doesn't open in mine.
Oh, okay, perfect. Now
Okay,
I can
good.
share the screen.
Yeah, good.
Okay,
There
can
we-
you see?
Yeah, it just came up. Is it Easy Journey to Other Planets? Yeah,
Yes.
really?
Easy Journey to Other Planets. Not
Okay.
conjugation. This is it.
Oh, really? So where's the very first page?
This is preface.
Oh, so what? No, go higher. Really? This
Yeah,
is it?
well, here we can do, how about anti-material worlds? Is this
Yeah.
what you're looking for?
You copy the link that I gave you?
This is prabhupabooks.com, or I can go Vedabase too and go look it up
No,
from
no,
there.
Prabhupada book. That's fine. I just wanted you to
Yeah. Yes.
cover.
Yes, this is prabhupabooks.com.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the first few pages here, this book was actually, Prabhupada did this book, I think it was in the 1950s. I think it was 1950 or 60s. I think it might have been in the 60s. And the pictures here are fantastic. If you're able to see, the pictures are really, really nice. Very old, ancient, beautiful pictures. And this book is not it's not used so much anymore. I wish it was. It's a very interesting book. I'm going to just summarize some of the, I hope you'll read it. Yeah, the page 10 is the beginning, Easy Journey to Other Planets. And then it lists there right afterward the books that were in print at the time that this book came out in Bhaktivedanta Book Trust. So it's kind of fun to see this. You can see what books we had available at that time. Now, if you start to read this book, Prabhupada says here, it's dedicated to the scientists of the world with blessings of His Divine Grace, Sri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, Prabhupada's spiritual master. The contents, the first, there's only two chapters. The first one is called Anti-Material Worlds, and the second one is Varieties of Planetary Systems. So I'm not going to go over the preface, which actually is really good, but the very beginning of it's actually page 1. But if you're in the PDF, page 18, but page 1, is the chapter called Anti-Material Worlds. So Prabhupada was really, I mean, this is really interesting to me, how Prabhupada, what he was doing here is he was appealing to scientists. Scientists are smart people. Prabhupada had a desire to appeal to scientists. Sometimes Prabhupada had scientists come to the LA temple. He would speak to them in the garden. He wanted to speak to intelligent people, and he really made an effort to talk with them. Here, Prabhupada is focusing this anti-material worlds. He calls it anti-material worlds. Now, we're going to go through here, and we're also going to kind of touch on the Bhagavad Gita. And so I'm going to ask you Prabhus on the call, as we go through some of this, and as I'm speaking and maybe touching on some of the Bhagavad Gita or some of the points of the Bhagavad Gita, if any verses come to your mind, then I ask you to go to the Bhagavad Gita, which would be in the vedabase.com website. Look under Bhagavad Gita, which is the very first book. If any verses come to your mind, then go to that verse and then raise your hand, stop, and I want you to read that verse. So that way we can learn. Because one of the things I found about Srila Prabhupada, which is absolutely was very convincing for me in my Bhakti Yoga, was how Prabhupada always was quoting the Bhagavad Gita. He's always quoting Bhagavad Gita. He was always able to go Bhagavad Gita, constantly verses. So it not only convinced me, but it also taught me how important it is to always reference what Krishna is saying. So Prabhupada always emphasized, I'm not speaking outside of what Krishna says. Everything I'm saying is what Krishna has said. And this really developed my Bhakti Yoga. So the same will be for you. So in this very first chapter, Anti-Material Worlds, there was an article written October 26, 1959. 2 American atomic scientists were awarded the 1959 Nobel Physics Prize. And it was about, they called the discovery of the antiproton particles and antiparticles. This caught Prabhupada's attention. So here Prabhupada's quoting in the Times of India. So this is the newspaper, the Times of India, and it's quoting this discovery. So if you read it, it says the anti-material world would consist of atomic and subatomic particles spinning in reverse orbits to those of the world we know. If these two worlds should ever clash, they would both be annihilated in one blinding flash. So Prabhupada starts off his book here by stating he agrees with the first point, the second point, but not the third point. So the first point is anti-material atom or particle is made up of the anti-qualities of material atoms. Whoa. And then 2, another world besides this material world of which we have only limited experience And 3, the anti-material and material worlds may clash at a certain period and may annihilate one another. The Prabhupada is that I agree with definition 1 and 2, but not with 3. And now he starts, and he's really, what he's doing here is he's going to take this information that these scientists have come up with and got the Nobel Prize for, and he's going to go, well, it's already in the Vedas. It's been there, I mean, forever. Hello, but he's, appealing. He's trying to bring the modern man, and he sees the scientists are into these discoveries. So he's trying to say, yes, this is going on, but it's already in the Vedas. So he's trying to bring people to the Vedas. This is what great souls do, okay? They know all the Vedas. Vedaishta sam ahamaveja vedanta krid vedavid eva chaham. That's a verse in the Bhagavad Gita. So if anyone finds that verse, please let me know and we can read it. So Prabhupada is trying to bring people to the Vedas. And it's important because all the Vedas are old. They're written thousands of years ago. They're apropos today. This is what Prabhupada is doing. He's making them relevant. And that's so important. Many people, they don't pay attention to the Vedas. They just don't think of it. They think it's old. They think we're old. They think the way we dress is old. They don't think that what we're doing is relevant. It's so untrue. Everything we're doing is like we are becoming Maha or super yogis. What we are doing is of the supreme activity. People think we're many backwards, we're very, no. If you read through this, you will see that all this is already known. So if it's already known, it gives a high superior reference to the Vedas. Now, I'm going to skip a lot more of this first chapter, I think, because I made some notes. Let's see, I'm going to go to areas that I found that I think will be important for us. 39. Let's see. Make sure I cover 30, page 39, different deities. Okay. Okay, so page 36 on the PDF, that would be page 19 of the Easy Journey to Other Planets. So actually page 19. So in page 19, which is 36 of the PDF, if you're doing PDF, counted by the PDF, Prabhupada starts to talk about the presiding deity of the anti-material world as Sri Krishna. So he's talking about the supreme absolute truth. And then he says in the last paragraph that this is the secret of the Bhagavad Gita. How to attain Krishna, who is in charge of the anti-material principle. So Prabhupada's using the same terms of the scientist and incorporating Vedic wisdom. But then he says the process of entering into the anti-material world differs from the materialistic processes. The individual living being can very easily enter the anti-material world by practicing anti-material activities while residing in the material world. So that's very important. And skimming down through this paragraph, even the yogis who have perfectly controlled mystic powers have great difficulty entering into that region, which is the anti-material world. Master yogis who control the anti-material particle within the material body by practice of mystic powers can give up their material bodies at will at a certain opportune moment and can thus enter the anti-material worlds through a specific thoroughfare which connects the material and anti-material worlds. If they are all able, they act in accordance with the, if they are all able, they act in accordance with the prescribed method given in the Bhagavad Gita. So Prabhupada is speaking in terms like yogic terms here. He's saying that to attain the anti-material world, one has to leave his body at a certain opportune time, and he goes through a specific thoroughfare. So you know what the meaning of thoroughfare is? Does anybody know? Okay. So the word thoroughfare is like a highway. You say a thoroughfare, like if you're going on a highway, it's the same as the word thoroughfare. Okay? It's where traffic runs, on the thoroughfare. So highway. So there is a highway that leads from Earth all through the different solar systems, all through the different planetary systems, all the way up to Vaikuntha. Okay? That's called it's a thoroughfare. And so the yogi who is controlling his life air, and we're going to talk about that in the next chapter, he's able to leave his body at will to attain either the higher planets of the demigods, or he can even go all the way to Vaikuntha. And then Prabhupada's going to explain how to get to Vaikuntha in the next chapter. So are you following me so far? Yeah. So believe it or not, even though we're not sitting in meditation, and even though we're not doing we're not doing mechanical meditation, we are still doing a meditation that's going to give us the same result as this. It's our life air is going to be raised. We're raising our life air. We're purifying our life air. Prabhupada gives all of this information here in this book, and it's so amazing to me that he did it all in this short period of time here. That's why I'm recommending that you read it. Okay, let's see what else we have here. I think I'm going to go on to page 45, which would be for
Mahashakti Prabhu, is that still in the first chapter?
yes.
Yeah.
It's page. Okay, it's page 28 of Easy Journey to Other Planets. The Ashtanga Yoga system is also materialistic inasmuch as it teaches one to control the movements of air within the material body. The spiritual spark, the soul, is floating on air within the body. Does anybody know if there's any verses in Bhagavad Gita which describe that the soul's floating on air? If anyone can find that, that would be great. So there's there's 9 gates in the body. There's different airs in the body. Okay, these are called airs. So the soul is resting on airs in the body. So therefore, the yoga system is a materialistic art of controlling this air. So it's like cushions. You know, when you breathe, you're breathing in and out. There's air. So that's a gross air. Then there are subtle airs. So the subtle airs exist inside the body. And by different forms of yoga, you can control or concentrate those airs. That's a form of yoga. Okay. We're not doing that specifically like other yogis do, but nonetheless, we are actually doing it. Even though we're not doing it consciously, we're doing it. And what Prabhupada likes to describe is that we are purifying these airs through our practice, which we're going to touch on in a moment. So our method is to purify the airs through our practice. And as the air gets purified, then we're raising our consciousness. Therefore, the yoga system is a materialistic art of controlling this air by transferring it from the stomach to the navel, from the chest to the collarbone, and from there to the eyeballs, and from there to the cerebellum, and from there to any desired planet. Did you all read that? Did you all hear that? So do you understand that this air, I mean, this is what yogis generally do. They're controlling the air and they raise it through their breathing and their meditation up, 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 up to here. And when it gets up high, like to the third eye level, they're raising this air. Then, based on the mantra that they're chanting, they can then propel or transfer the soul themselves to these different planets and ultimately to Vaikuntha. Okay? So that's how they do it. They are in control of their life. They're in control of their life air, and they can what's the word? Propel themselves to different planets, and even to Vaikuntha. But generally, that's not happening in this age. That's mechanical process of yoga. But still, yogi, this is the process that was used for a long time. Yeah, I tell you. I think she's trying.
These are not chakras, and these are not elements, material elements. These are specific channels, or this is nothing to do with channels as well.
Oh, they're like chakras, because in each different part of the body, they call them chakras. So the life air is going through these different areas of the body, and the yogi's raising them. Now, this is a mechanical process. It's mechanical. But Prabhupada points this out here, that this is a process of attaining the higher planets, because he wants people to know that yogis are superior. They're superior beings, that this is knowledge from the Vedas that have been around for a long time. He wants people to understand, he wants them to read the Vedas to understand the power of what's being described here. It's like giving a taste. You know what I mean? Like giving a small taste. He's trying to get these people interested to read. Let's continue. The velocities of air and light.
I have a little quote to add from the Bhagavad Gita based on just what we just said.
Yeah.
Mahashakti Prabhu, you were talking about the life at the top, or the air at the top of the
Yes.
head. And chapter 8, text 12 in Bhagavad Gita says, the yogic situation is that of detachment from all sensual engagements, closing all doors of the senses and fixing the mind on the heart and the life air at the top of the head. One establishes himself in yoga.
Perfect. Beautiful. Beautiful. That's it. I mean, so that's the process, and Prabhupada is giving more detail here in his book to what Lord Krishna has spoken. The velocities of air and light are taken into consideration by the material scientist, but he has no information of the velocity of mind and intelligence. So the scientists are involved with a gross science. We, as master yogis, I say master yogis, we are interested in subtle science. There's the difference. These other yogis these scientists are doing gross science. We're doing subtle science that involves the mind and intelligence. Because in a moment, we can transfer our minds to places hundreds of thousands of miles away. Intelligence is even finer. Finer than intelligence is the soul, which is not matter like mind and intelligence, but is spirit or anti-matter. Now, I want to now bring us forward to page 32. So the question becomes, how does one achieve the kingdom of God through this process? And I think what Prabhupada has written here is worthy of us to repeat it, to understand it. This is very important. How to reach the spiritual sky completely in a spiritual form. That's on page 32. When one goes to a transcendental planet, however, it is necessary to change both the finer and gross bodies. So if one is going to go to the moon planet, he's going to have a moon-like body. If one is going to go to the sun planet, he's going to have a sun-like body. If one is here on Earth, he has an Earth-like body. So each type of body, different atmosphere. One is limited, his sense gratification is limited to the type of body that he has. Okay, so human beings have superior sense gratification than animals. Persons living on the moon have greater facility than us. They live longer, they could drink the somaras juice, they can get intoxicated nicely, they have heavenly delights. We cannot have them here. So because we're limited by our body type, to enjoy sense gratification, you require superior body. Everyone understand? Okay. So then the question Prabhupada poses here is how to reach the spiritual sky completely in a spiritual form. This change of dress will take place automatically at the time of death if one so desires. So the spiritual form that we require to live in Vaikuntha or Goloka, that will take place automatically at the time of death if we have prepared ourselves in this life. So Prabhupada gives us the not definition, but the analogy. He says, if you have an iron rod, and if it's just standing, if it's here, it's just room temperature. But if you place the iron rod in the fire, it becomes hot, hotter, hottest. It takes on the qualities of the fire. It becomes just like fire. When you leave it in long enough, it acts just like fire. So similarly, our body right now is mundane. It's gross body. But after years and years of chanting Hare Krishna, following the regulative principles, our body becomes like hot iron in the fire. Every part of our body becomes spiritualized. So that we become in tune with the spiritual world. That's why we want to be careful when we're associated with devotees. We don't want to offend their bodies. We want to offer obeisances, because devotees are gaining so much spiritual energy by what they're doing. And so we want to be respectful of one another on our activities. And this is the Vedic system and the Vedic culture. So just to continue, where one's treasures are, there also is one's heart. When one practices devotional service, one cultivates a desire for the kingdom of God. So what we are doing is we're cultivating a desire for the kingdom of God. So this is what we're doing in bhakti. We're by focusing our attention 100% on our bhakti, we're cultivating a desire to be with Krishna. The following details outline a general practice by which one can prepare himself for an easy journey to Vaikuntha, where life is free from birth, old age, disease, and death. So this is called easy journey. So typically yogis have a hard time. Mystic yogis, artificial, what's the word I'm looking? Yogis who, not material, but what's the word? Today I'm at a loss for my words. Mechanical. So yogis who use a mechanical method, that's difficult. So in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says there's two ways of approaching him, personal and impersonal. There's a verse, Arjuna is asking Krishna, well, you're giving me two methods here, Lord. You're saying, on one hand, I should control my heirs, I should control my life heirs, and I should focus my attention on the absolute. And the other, you're telling me I should do devotional service to you and give everything to you. Well, which one should I do? Arjuna is asking Krishna, which one should I perform? So the Lord says, well, there are two, but of the two, the devotional service to me is much easier. That is why Prabhupada says this book is called Easy Journey to easy journey to other planets, ultimately to Vaikuntha, because this is not a difficult process. Bhakti is actually not difficult. Bhakti is easy. The other form of yoga is difficult. Now, this I thought was very important, so I'm going to emphasize this next part. Prabhupada gives what's called general practice. So here is the essence of how one achieves Vaikuntha or Goloka. The first thing Prabhupada says, the serious candidate must accept a bona fide spiritual master in order to be trained scientifically. So if you're a scientist or not, but Prabhupada's appealing to the scientists here. But even if you're not a scientist, Prabhupada's saying, if you want to go back to home, back to Godhead, you must accept the bona fide spiritual master. So anyone who thinks that they can become Krishna conscious on their own, they can avoid getting initiated, they don't require initiation, they don't think it's necessary, they can just hang around, eat prasadam, and chant, everything is going to be fine, they're deluding themselves. So I'm telling this to you because each one of you here is going to become a master yogi. And each one of you is going to practice, and you're going to become perfect, and you're going to tell others about this in the right way. And we have to know that no one is going to get to this point Prabhupada is describing here without first accepting the lotus feet, the shelter of the lotus feet of a spiritual master. So the serious candidate, okay, so because the senses are material, it is not at all possible to realize the transcendence by them. All of us, what we are trying to achieve is beyond our senses at the present moment. We have no access to the transcendence. None. They're beyond our senses. Achintya, ahoksaja, beyond. None of us have the intelligence to ponder what we're trying to ponder. So we can't do it on our own. Therefore, the senses have to be spiritualized by the prescribed method under the direction of the spiritual master. So Prabhupada used to emphasize, if you have a disease, you must go to the doctor. You have to get the prescription from the doctor. You've got to take the prescription according to what the doctor's prescribing. If he comes to you, he sees what disease you're suffering from, he administers the medicine, you take the medicine, you get better. Another example Prabhupada used to use, if you have jaundice, this is a really fun tidbit piece of information that none of us knew. But if you have jaundice is when you turn yellow, and it's like the liver disease, right? So in India, one of the prescribed methods you can to get cured from jaundice is you take sugarcane juice. Sugarcane juice? Yeah. So if you take sugarcane juice and you have jaundice, if you start to take it, the first taste you will experience is very, very bitter. Yep, very bitter. So you're drinking this really nice juice, but it's very bitter. But if you keep taking it, eventually and slowly, it gets sweeter and sweeter until the jaundice is gone. So this is a perfect analogy. So Prabhupada is giving instructions and he's giving instructions to his disciples what to do because we are in a jaundice condition. So he's explaining how to become Krishna conscious. So he's saying, do this, do this, do this. Give this up, give that up, follow the four regulative principles, chant. And we first start to do this because we accept initiation or we are desiring to become initiated. We follow the principles, we're chanting, getting up, rising early. It's not easy, like a new way of life. In the early days, it was not easy. We were together, we were encouraging each other. Sadhu Sangha, we would rise in the morning, but it was not easy because inside of our mind, there was still desire for enjoyment of sense gratification. And we were limited in our devotional life, in our yogic practice, we were limited. We had to focus on what was given to us. So it was not easy, but we did not want to leave Prabhupada's association, because Prabhupada was so nice, so kind, so wonderful, so transcendental, so beautiful. And similarly, your guru will be the same. You will not leave because your guru will be nice to you, kind to you. He will also instruct you. He will sometimes chastise you, whatever is necessary. And then you will get from his association, and you will get superior association. You will have the association of a sadhu. So in 1 second, Alexandra. And so in this way, you will gain what is called shraddha. So the word shraddha means faith. So faith means I would rather stay in Krishna consciousness and follow my spiritual master than to go follow my senses, and my mind, which is giving me trouble, and leave. I'm not going to run away. But the opportunity is always there. The door is always open. You can always leave. You can just take off, and no one would know. What happened to so and so? We used to say they blooped. They blooped. What do you mean they bloop? They just bloop means when something enters the water, bloop, it makes a sound, bloop, and then disappears. So and so blooped. Happened. I mean, even during Prabhupada's time, we'd wake up and someone would not be there anymore. Okay? So we used to tell Prabhupada, oh my God, Prabhupada, so and so left. So when Prabhupada said, don't be concerned with who left. Be amazed at who stays. So we tightened our determination when this happened. We came together and we were stronger because of it, not weaker. So Prabhupada gave the example of the twigs. When you tie the twigs together, they're like a limb of a tree. You can't break them. And we took that seriously. That's why we don't want to argue with each other. We don't want to find fault and argue. Each one of us is so important to each other. Alexandra or Natalia, Tatiana, if you quote a verse to me, you're feeding me. You're feeding everyone and yourself. So we depend on each other for strength in our bhakti. So in this way, we can make it through. And what happens is, just like that jaundice, every day we stick around and we continue hearing and we continue chanting Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Bandhanam, Dasya Sakyam, Atmani Vedanam. 9 processes. If we Shravanam, Kirtanam, those 2 are the most important. Shukadev and Parikshit Maharaj, Shravanam, Kirtanam. So if we do Shravanam, Kirtanam, we're going to get stronger and stronger, and the jaundice will settle down. We'll start to taste the sweetness of bhakti. That sweetness it will never leave us. It's spiritualizing our body. That sweetness is different than eating a Milky Way or doing something in the material world or getting some nice car, big home, material things. That is nothing compared to spiritualizing your body, your mind, your intelligence. That will bring out the sweetness of Krishna consciousness. And as we get sweeter and sweeter and more spiritualized, we become mad after Krishna. That is what we are interested in. We want to become very desirous for Krishna. That is the position that very few people know about. No one understands what is love of God, except for Gaudiya Vaishnavas. You become mad, just like Lord Chaitanya, just like the Goswamis. We become so interested, we become charmed by Krishna. So much so that in our advanced stages of Krishna consciousness, we are thinking of Krishna all the time. We don't want to be in a situation where we're not thinking of him. So that is the advanced stage of bhakti. So earlier we read how it's explained that the yogi, he's raising his mind, his air, up into the higher cerebellum area. That means that he's concentrating his intelligence on his destination. And that is what we are doing. By absorbing our mind in thoughts of Krishna and his Leela, his form, Guna, Rupa, Dham, all the different activities related to Krishna, we are beginning to focus our attention on our ultimate goal. our destination, so that whenever we leave our body, we're going to attain Krishna. That's how it's done. And we're not doing it mechanically. It's natural. Okay, Alexandra, please, your comment.
I have in addition to what you just so kindly preached to us, it's a couple quotes from Bhagavad Gita based on your spiritual master and a small tisk of the relationship between the two entities.
Okay.
So we have chapter 4. There's like three lines. Can I list them in English, or I can also go Sanskrit if you'd like?
Whatever you prefer.
I'll go in English then. Try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge onto you because they have seen the truth. Chapter 4, text 34. And then we have text 35. Having obtained real knowledge from self-realized soul, you will never fall again into such illusion, for by this knowledge you will see that all living beings are part of the Supreme, or in other words, that they are mine. Text 36. Even if you are considered to be the most sinful of all sinners, when you are situated in the boat of transcendental knowledge, you will be able to cross over the ocean of miseries.
That is really good, Alexandra. Those really good references. I love that. Really good references. So getting back to our book here, then number 2, when the student has chosen a bona fide spiritual master, he must take the proper initiation from him. This marks the beginning of spiritual training. Anyone who thinks they can become Krishna conscious without taking shelter of the spiritual master is sadly wrong. Here, Prabhupada could have glossed over this, didn't have to emphasize it. He didn't have to even say it, but he's making this important point here that spiritual life is pretty much impossible or meaningless for anyone if they don't take shelter and hear from a spiritual master. So we also must emphasize this to anyone who is interested in getting out of the material world, making a permanent solution to their life. They should take shelter of a spiritual master. Number 3, the candidate must be prepared to satisfy the spiritual master in every way. The spiritual master should be learned in Bhagavad Gita, Vedanta, Bhagavatam, Upanishads. Actually, Bhagavad Gita is also known as Gita Upanishad. So it's one of the Upanishads. And Srimad Bhagavatam is Bhagavat Purana. So the Puranas and the Upanishads, there's many of them, but we're concerned with only those Upanishads and the Puranas that deal specifically with God. So the spiritual master, he is like a swan. He knows which literatures are the ones that are the essence that we are concerned with. Swan means that the swan is a Paramahansa. The swan, we call sometimes an elevated soul, a Paramahansa. You've heard that term, Paramahansa. Swan-like devotee. So a swan, when it walks to the water, when it goes in the water, it can use its beak to pull certain water out and disperse other. It's like Prabhupada said, you can take milk out of the water. You can just take the essence out. Essence. So Paramahansa takes the essence of the Vedas. That's the meaning behind Paramahansa. He takes only the essence. So you want to hear from a spiritual master who knows the essence of the Vedas. This way you can make rapid advancement, because when he speaks to you, he's giving you the essence of the Vedas in a way that will make you advance very, very rapidly. More rapidly than you can ever do on your own. The spiritual master must be satisfied in all respects, because simply by his good wishes, a candidate can make wonderful progress along the path. This is the hard thing that very few people understand, is the power of the spiritual master. And he understands. This is something you need to know. The guru understands our condition. Don't think he doesn't know. He knows, because he's gone through it, that we are in a low stage right now. His disciple is in a low stage. So he knows this. So there's no reason to argue with him. You just take the shelter, you take the good wishes, you satisfy. So this means you offer pranams to your spiritual master, you speak nicely to him. If you can do some service for him, And you can look at the early devotees, the early devotees at ISKCON, how we serve Prabhupada. So that is the idea behind hearing from older devotees. You can see how we serve Prabhupada. So in the same way, and it's natural, you want to serve your guru in some way. And this becomes your qualification. Then the guru is going to give you his mercy, his advancement in what he knows from years and years and years of practice. He's going to pass it on to you. And that's how you're going to make rapid advancement by his blessing. He's putting his hand, by his blessing, he's putting his hand on your head, and very quickly you're going to make advancement. So that's how we do it. Now, when you serve your spiritual master, something interesting happens. It's not just all coming from him like this. It's really interesting. It's because you develop the proper devotional qualities to receive the information. So Prabhupada used to say, he's trying to make us into Brahmins. So it means that the proper devotional qualities must be there for us to receive the spiritual knowledge and the spiritual love that is coming from Guru and Krishna. So when we have the proper attitude, then it's easy for us to receive. So we must learn the proper attitude. At the present moment, we are very coarse, C-O-A-R-S-E, coarse. We're rough, like ruffians. We're rough around the edges. We're not refined. The intelligence is not refined. Our minds are fickle. They're running here, they're running there. So it takes time to become gentle. You become humble, to become sincerely humble, gentle, kind, nice, sincere. You see a devotee who's actually humble, it's really something. You see a humble soul, wow, you're just impressed. These are qualities of goodness that Krishna talks about in Bhagavad Gita. These qualities decorate Brahminical type individuals. So we want to become like Brahmins, Prabhupada said, real Brahmins. And then it's easy for us to be able to receive Krishna consciousness because we have the correct qualities. Okay, so you'll see this is so. As you read Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, you'll see that these qualities that we need to develop are very, very important aspect of our Krishna consciousness. And they will happen. They will definitely happen. It will take time. Don't give up. Stay focused, always in the fire, Prabhupada said, but these qualities are going to develop in us. So just a little more time here. We're going to read a little bit more. The candidate should always try to follow, number 5, in the footsteps of the great sages who have practiced this method and obtained success. This should be taken as a motto in life. One should not superficially imitate them, but should follow them sincerely in terms of the particular time and circumstances. So others have been able to achieve success through the guru-disciple relationship, and we today are looking to attain the same success that Arjuna obtained, that Asita, Devala, all the other great sages and kings on this planet who became Krishna conscious just as much as Lord Brahma. All of these great souls, Rupa Goswami, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, Srila Prabhupada, all of these great souls, we want to also attain success through our association with Guru. Guru and Krishna, Guru and Krishna, Guru and Krishna. Here it says, following the example of Arjuna, in number 6, following the example of Arjuna. So there's so many more examples here. I mean, more points Prabhupada's making. If you look through here, there's 20 things that are very important, Prabhupada says. And then there are...
Can I ask a question on the one that we just went over on number 5?
Yeah.
Okay. One should not superficially imitate them, but should follow them sincerely in terms of particular time and circumstance. So I understand the first part of not imitating them, but follow them sincerely in terms of particular time and circumstance.
Yeah.
Could you elaborate on that and give an example of how to understand this nicely?
Yeah. Time and circumstance. there's a particular phrase for that that we use where things are adjusted according to time, place. It's actually time, place, and circumstance. Prabhupada would also say time, place, and circumstance, which means that we're going to make adjustments. Prabhupada, the guru, will make adjustments sometimes based on time, place, and circumstance. For instance, Prabhupada, when he came to the West, his mission from his guru was to spread Krishna consciousness. No one else was able to do it. There were some attempts before Prabhupada, but no one was successful. So Prabhupada, when he came, he adjusted things based on time, place, and circumstance. He saw that Westerners intermingled, women and men intermingled all the time, not like in India. West is different. They very easily intermingle. So there's always this male, female. And so Prabhupada developed, actually, he started what's called Brahmacharini Ashram. He gave women a chance to be Brahmins, not just women, but I'm saying, using an example, this was not seen very nicely from India. The Indian sadhus and gurus, they didn't think this was very good. But Prabhupada did what he needed to do in order to spread Krishna consciousness in the West. Sannyasis generally don't perform marriage ceremonies. Prabhupada did. Prabhupada did marriage ceremonies. He gave Brahman initiation to Yavanas, to hippies. And after we were only qualified for 6 months to it's actually closer to a year of practicing. And again, in India, there were many persons who fought this idea. They did not accept us. They did not accept Westerners as Brahmins, never. They said, you must be born in a Brahmin family. So, time, place, and circumstance, Prabhupada made some changes in order to accommodate things, in order to accommodate the group he was preaching to, I would say. So does that help a little bit, Alexandra?
Mm-hmm. So it's kind of focusing on the major theme instead of what one individual person should do.
Also, he wanted us to chant more than 16 rounds, but time, place, and circumstance, we were not able to. So he adjusted. He said, okay, 16. But Bhaktisiddhanta, he had most of his disciples chanting 64 rounds a day. So again, time, place, circumstance, he felt, okay, this is going to be sufficient. That will be okay. You do 16 rounds every day, but not less, he said. If you don't do it in one day, make it up the next day, Prabhupada said. Mm-hmm. Again, he made some adjustment. Yes, Alexandra.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So also, he was a little more, Prabhupada was more lenient when it came to foods and eating, compared to other Gaudiya Vaishnava societies in India. Prabhupada was more lenient with us. For instance, on Ekadasi, he didn't make us fast from all foods. He let us eat peanuts and raisins and other foods, and not other food, no grains, no beans, but we were able to eat peanuts and raisins and things like this. And he didn't, he wasn't a matter of starving us. He had to see who he was dealing with. So he made adjustments like that for us. So that's some idea. That gives you some idea. So this is, if you want to continue on your own reading, this is really good. We can also come back to this next week. And I love the fact that we're referencing the Bhagavad Gita. That helps us to learn the Bhagavad Gita. That verse that you read, that you said 420, that's something that you want to learn by heart. Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevayor upadekshyanti te gyanam, getting us taught with darshina. That verse is a very important verse. So, and then if you can
just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master.
Yeah.
Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge onto you because they have seen the truth.
Yeah. So if you can learn some Sanskrit, that's really good, because Sanskrit is very powerful. It's the language of the demigods. Krishna speaks Sanskrit. So if you can read the Sanskrit and begin to learn, it's like a song. Everything's like a song. Mm-hmm. Easy. It's not really difficult. And the more you hear it, you'll like it so much It's beneficial. It raises your consciousness. It makes you happy, happy, happy. So try to, if you're going to read Bhagavad Gita, also read the Sanskrit and try to speak it out loud if you're not with anybody, and try to memorize it or read it. Even just take one verse and become knowledgeable. So next week, I'm asking that you take one verse, whatever it may be, and learn it. And we're going to ask you to speak it next week and know it pretty well. Not stumble through it. Don't stumble, but see if you can really learn it. So I'll let you finish up, Tatiana. Then I think we're getting close to the end here, right? Tatiana, you done? Okay. Did you finish?
Yeah.
Okay, we stopped. Okay.